27 years ago, a class of young students vanished without a trace. They were on a routine school trip, a day of fun and exploration. Parents waved goodbye, expecting their children to return home that afternoon, but they never did. A frantic search followed. Police combed through forests, rivers, and abandoned buildings. Missing posters plastered every corner of the city, but there was no evidence, no bodies, no signs of struggle. Only one other person disappeared that day, their teacher, Mr. Grayson, a man with no prior criminal record, loved by his students, and known for his kindness. The case shook the nation. How could an entire class just disappear? Theories ran wild. Some believed they were taken by a human trafficking ring. Others thought the teacher had gone rogue, leading the students to some hidden place. But over time, the story faded. The authorities stopped looking. Families were left with nothing but photographs and fading memories. Justice never came, until now. Because last night, in a gas station parking lot, a woman was found, disoriented, trembling, and clutching a faded school ID. Her name, Audrey Whitman, one of the students from that missing class. When Laura Calloway received the news, her hands went numb. For 27 years, she had clung to hope, refusing to believe her daughter, Emily, was gone forever. While the other parents had moved on, or at least pretended to, Laura had spent years re-examining old evidence, rereading police reports, looking for something everyone else had missed. And now, there was a survivor. Laura rushed to the hospital where Audrey was being held for evaluation. As she stepped into the dimly lit room, she saw a frail woman in her mid-30s, her hands trembling, her eyes darting to every shadow. She looked haunted, but when their eyes met, Laura saw recognition. Audrey's lips quivered. "You're Emily's mom, aren't you?" Laura felt her knees go weak. "Yes," she whispered. "Where is she? Where is my daughter?" Audrey swallowed hard, her gaze dropping to her lap. And then, in a voice so small it barely reached Laura's ears, she said, "I'm so sorry." When Audrey finally spoke, the words came in pieces. She had no memory of the first few days after they vanished. She only remembered waking up in a dark, windowless building. She and her classmates were not alone. There were other children there, some older, some younger, all terrified. They were moved constantly, from house to house, from city to city, kept in basements, told to stay silent or suffer the consequences. Not all of them made it. Laura clutched Audrey's hand, her own heart pounding. "But how did you escape?" Audrey shuddered. "I didn't. Someone let me go." She looked up at Laura, her voice trembling. "Mrs. Calloway. It was Principal Brooks who took us. Principal Lillian Brooks, the same woman who had comforted parents after the disappearance. The woman who had pleaded with police to never give up the search. The woman who had built a reputation as a hero. It had all been a lie." According to Audrey, Principal Brooks had been working with a secret underground network, selling children to the highest bidder, making sure they were never found. And the worst part? Mr. Grayson had tried to stop her. He wasn't the kidnapper. He was the hero. When he discovered what Brooks was planning, he tried to flee with the students. He took them on the field trip as a cover, hoping to get them somewhere safe, but he failed. The men working with Brooks caught up to him before he could get away. "They killed him," Audrey whispered, "right in front of us." 27 years of lies shattered in an instant. Armed with Audrey's testimony, the police reopened the case. Within 48 hours, they arrested Principal Brooks at her home. She was 75 years old now, frail, with silver hair and shaking hands. But the moment she saw the officers, her face twisted with something dark. As they cuffed her wrists, she let out a low chuckle. "Took you long enough." And then, leaning forward, she whispered something to the arresting officer. "There are more. You'll never find them all." Chilling words that would haunt the investigation for years. The arrest of Principal Brooks rocked the nation. News outlets called it the crime that took 27 years to solve. Parents of the missing children demanded to know where their kids were, but for most, it was too late. The only survivor was Audrey. Laura had prayed for a reunion with her daughter, but now she knew the truth. Emily was never coming home. Yet, even in grief, there was closure. Laura made a choice. She adopted Audrey, the last surviving child from that lost class, a girl who had spent nearly 3 decades in fear and hiding. Together, they began rebuilding their lives. And though the pain would never fully fade, Laura found comfort in one final thought. The truth had come out, and for the first time in 27 years, justice had finally won. Sometimes the truth takes years to surface, but when it does, it changes everything. The case remains one of the darkest mysteries in modern history, and even today, authorities are still searching for the missing children that Brooks hinted at before her arrest, because, as she warned, there are more. The question is, will they ever be found?